Welcome everyone. Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivani Gupta. Manish Sisodia knocked on the doors of the Supreme Court today, but there was no relief. The Chief Justice of India, while hearing the matter, said they cannot intervene just yet. And it does not send a good message if they do so for a matter that comes up in the national capital. They also reminded that Sisodia has enough remedies available otherwise. With this, the focus shifts back to the investigation and the interrogation being mounted by the CBI against the Delhi Deputy Chief Minister. The crucial aspect is the more the agency digs into the alleged modus operandi and more the details of the missing links tumble out, the graver the questions become. First is the question, how did a key government file with important notings and approvals of a policy go missing, as is being said? Why did Sisodia change so many phones within a year, and why are most of them missing as alleged? What were the alleged parlays in Hyderabad and Delhi on the excise policy all about? And if there are kickbacks, then can it be proved? One thing is clear, Mr. Sisodia seems to be in trouble. While agencies become a battleground for political barbs, when it comes to corruption at the level of a government policy or at high places, agencies don't usually act unless they are reasonably sure. And in this case, there are many accused already arrested who have either benefited or those who have been allegedly the conduits and the middlemen. Can all of them stay silent? What is also equally true is that proving such a corruption is never easy, and without a clear money trail, it may not amount to much. Politically, this is now the biggest crisis of credibility for the Aam Aadmi Party. Can they survive it? We're getting updates now that Manish Sisodia has submitted his resignation. I believe this is his resignation from his ministerial post. My colleague Rupashri Nanda is also joining us. Manish Sisodia, not only the education minister, the excise policy head, but he was holding as many as 18 portfolios. Rupa, tell us more about his resignation.
Well, yes, Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia has now submitted his resignation. Along with him, Satyendar Jain has also submitted his resignation. So Delhi Arvind Kejriwal clearly, going in for a new faces, even in fact ahead of the budget. As far as we know, this information has come in just now, and we are confirming that Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia has resigned and been in jail now, who was the former health minister and PWD minister, has also tendered his resignation. So we could see new faces in the cabinet very soon. And this is actually not on entirely expected lines, because since Satyendar Jain had not been asked to submit his resignation, and since the Delhi Chief Minister had stood by Satyendar Jain for 10 months, and because there was an anticipation within the Aam Aadmi Party that Manish Sisodia will be arrested, and the Aam Aadmi Party was actually preparing for a plan B in case Manish Sisodia gets arrested. And therefore, it was actually, believed, and many party leaders had actually told us that though they are not privy to any information, and it was the Chief Minister's prerogative, to take a decision on who are going to be his next ministers, whether he's going to stick by Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia. Actually, the Chief Minister has gone ahead. And this decision has been taken.
Okay, but Rupashri, like you very rightly pointed out, for Satyendar Jain, for example, they continue to stick to their guns. Manish Sisodia has only just been arrested. What has brought about this change of mind in the Aam Aadmi Party that these two just cannot continue as part of the cabinet? Because Satyendar Jain did for many months.
Absolutely. In fact, that was the feeling, and that was the that was the information that was given by many party leaders on record when they were speaking, when everybody was asking about the next move, considering especially that Manish Sisodia was holding 18 portfolios. So who is going to handle all those portfolios?
Right.
But somewhere I think somewhere Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal has realized that governance must not suffer. And because of the unpredictability of the situation that Manish Sisodia finds himself in.
Right.
And remember, this news has come in just after the Supreme Court, where the Supreme Court actually did not entertain.
Before I go across to my colleague Arunima, who's also joining us, Rupashi, very quick response also. Is it just because Manish Sisodia was handling too many portfolios, he was also given the portfolios that Jain handled for earlier? Or is it also that there is a matter of propriety that is increasing for the Aam Aadmi Party government? We've not seen two Delhi ministers in jail at the same time ever before, I believe.
Well, it is a mix of both actually, because Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia was actually handling 18 portfolios. He was shouldering all the responsibilities that Satyendar Jain was shouldering. And not just that, as I have been mentioning before also, remember COVID times. During that time, Satyendar Jain was still the health minister, but still an expert committee was formed and Manish Sisodia was made the head of that expert committee. So Manish Sisodia was much more than just a minister in the Aam Aadmi Party cabinet in Delhi. He actually was the main go-to person for Arvind Kejriwal.
Right.
He was the troubleshooter in the party also. And apart from that, he still remains a big face in the party. The party has used him to garner support in election-bound states also.
Okay.
But somewhere,
Clearly,
I think
the time was up for both of these. Yes, sir. Yes, Rupashri, continue.
the pressure on the Aam Aadmi Party's government was building day by day with increasing scrutiny on every move or every word that was uttered by Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia. And you asked me whether it is just a question of because he was handling too many portfolios, or it is because he was. It is a matter of propriety.
Okay.
If you look at Satyendar Jain, also it was a matter of propriety. But Arvind Kejriwal had stuck by Satyendar Jain.
Sometimes it breaks the camel's back. One minister, you could defend it, but possibly not two, and not with such grave corruption charges. Rupashri, stay with us. I want to quickly bring in my colleague Arunima also. Some guests from all party sides are also joining us as this big update comes in. Finally, the Aam Aadmi Party, Arunima has bitten the bullet. It was just getting too much to evade the fact that two of their ministers who continue to be in the cabinet are now in jail.
You know, whatever the Aam Aadmi Party might give as way of justification, they could say that they did not want Delhi governance to suffer. They could say that, Mr. Sisodia himself took this call since he was handling so many portfolios, whatever they might say. As far as optics goes and as far as what BJP will interpret this is as succumbing to political pressure. They would, attack the Aam Aadmi Party. They have been saying this even now. You heard press conference after press conference after the Supreme Court refused to entertain that plea. What is it that the BJP was saying? That you were the ones who were distributing certificates of honesty. Kattar Imandar was your, slogan. Even the apex court is not appreciating all the plea that you're making. And now that the Deputy Chief Minister, former Deputy Chief Minister of Delhi, if I may say so, has resigned, has stepped down, this is going to politically hurt the Aam Aadmi Party. On the part of the investigating agency, I don't think either the CBI or the ED would comment officially because this is not their job. But there would be a sense of acceptance that whatever they have told the court is being appreciated on merit. All the criticism that they were facing for acting under political pressure, the investigating team would feel that, they must have had some substance to the evidence gathering that has led to this decision by Mr. Kejriwal, the Chief Minister, asking two of his cabinet colleagues to step down. And I just want to remind, while all of us are just focusing on the excise policy case, there is also a second case pending against Mr. Sisodia, that of phone tapping, snooping here in Delhi. The sanction for investigation has come from the Ministry of Home Affairs. CBI is yet to begin probe, but their officials, after initial scrutiny, are quite confident that in this case, in that particular case also, they have enough to pin down the case under in Prevention of Corruption Act against Mr. Sisodia. Okay.
Arunima, please stay with us. I will come back to you in a little bit on more of what we are finding out as far as the investigations are concerned. But I have to go across to the guests who are joining us. Syed Zafar Islam, the BJP national spokesperson. Abhinandita Mathur of the Aam Aadmi Party. I'm also joined by Umesh Sehgal, who's been a former chief secretary in the national capital. Abhinandita, finally the decision that everybody was asking. In fact, I started this show by saying that this is the biggest crisis of credibility for the Aam Aadmi Party. You've responded at least to the point that these two individuals can no longer continue in the cabinet. Finally, why this decision now? Was it too much to deflect?
It's a very unfortunate day for Delhi and the people of Delhi. But the main thing is that we do not want governance to suffer further. Already there is so much kheenchtan between the LG and the elected government. We really do not want, we owe everything to the people of Delhi. We don't want governance to suffer, and which is why a replacement was impending now. Also, we realize that this is an ongoing battle. As you know, that there are over 5,000, 6,000 cases pending in the ED and the CBI against politicians of various opposition parties. So we are not, we don't trust the BJP or the center in that state. And we feel that, this battle might be longer than expected.
No, you say,
The other, of
Abhinandan,
course,
sorry,
is
I'm
that-
coming in. I just want initial reactions. You know, you're saying that you don't trust whatever this Kheenchtan is going on and you don't trust the agencies and the BJP. Fact of the matter is that Mr. Jain has been in jail for nearly 9 months. He hasn't got any relief.
Absolutely.
Even the FIRs haven't been quashed. Forget about the fact that he's been able to come out of jail or not. Manish
Yeah.
Sisodia wasn't given relief yesterday when he was presented in court, wasn't given relief while going directly to the Supreme Court. You have to honor the process. And
Absolutely.
fundamentally, the Aam Aadmi Party, even today, the Congresses came out and lambasted you. That a party that came to power on the back of a Lokpal movement has 2 of its ministers in jail. You just not responded to the situation. You're acting like a victim here. But at least possibly there's a good start that these two couldn't continue in cabinet. You can't blame others. You haven't been able to quash the cases against them.
I agree that, the decision to step down by Honorable Manish Sisodia ji is commendable, because again, like I'm repeating, that what he believes is that, he's not here. He started as a journalist, an activist, and then went on to, be one of the leaders of a top movement. And then if there are allegations like this, he rather step down. So this is his moral responsibility, he believed.
But what about Mr.
I'm
Jain's
repeating
moral
that-
responsibility? I would have bought that argument if Mr. Jain had also quit when he was jailed. And once you realize that he's going to
Look,
continue in jail.
in both cases, we plead innocent. And that is something that is our constitutional right. This is the constitutional right of both these persons concerned. And I think that, the law will have to take its course. What we are saying is that while we do honor the process, while we do honor the courts, we also believe that there are certain agencies that do function in the influence of the ruling party.
Okay.
I don't think
I'll
that
come
we
back
have
to
to
you,
mince words
Abhinandita.
about
Let me
it.
just take
But
opening
then-
comments from all of our guests joining us. I'm also joined by Ravula Sridhar Reddy, BRS leader. Now, remember, there is a link that is emerging with the BRS in Telangana. I also want to welcome Kapil Sankla, senior Supreme Court lawyer. But Syed Zafar Islam, I'm coming to you first up. The Aam Aadmi Party is saying this is for governance. This decision has been taken because Mr. Manish Sisodia had too many responsibilities. Clearly, they need to have governance continue.
The only responsibility was what Mr. Sisodia had to plunder the government of Delhi's wealth. Because what he was doing is only how to make money for themselves, for his party, and through unfair practices for Mr. Kejriwal. The architect of this entire scam is Mr. Kejriwal, and he was the one who was also responsible, along with Mr. Kejriwal, to do this crime.
You've
They
got
were,
your wish, Mr.
since yesterday
Mr.
they
Islam,
were-
you've got your wish. You've been
No,
asking
since
for Jain's
yesterday they were
resignation
speaking something else.
and for
Today they are
Sisodia's
speaking
resignation.
something else. Yesterday they were saying that they will get somehow relief from the Supreme Court. Today what Supreme Court has said is known to everyone, that you cannot invoke Article 32 when you have the remedies
Court has-
available with the
and the
Honorable
Supreme
High
Court has
Court.
advised
So
us
first
to go
approach
to High Court. We
Honorable
will
High
to the High
Court.
Court. The Supreme Court has not dismissed. The Supreme Court did not accept the case. That is all. So I think that you should not be spreading ill information.
Let me just complete. I'm not
And also
interrupting in
not
anyone.
saying that-
I can't see anyone, so let me just
I'm afraid that you are
finish.
just-
I didn't interrupt AAP spokesperson.
Fair enough, but
Why
some
she
of
is
your allegations
unnecessarily
are-
making
Okay, let him finish. I have to go
making a
further
statement
as
which
well.
is factually incorrect.
All
I'm trying to tell you that they were trying to invoke Article 32, which was simply not possible. Honorable Supreme Court has very clearly indicated to them, suggested to them to go to the Honorable High Court where the remedies are available.
Okay,
And
I believe
they will-
Ravi Shankar
they will,
Prasad, but just one
they
second,
will-
Mr. Islam. Ravi Shankar Prasad is speaking once again on this new development. He was holding a press conference earlier. Let's listen in.
दामन में बहुत धब्बे हैं, प्रतीक्षा करिए, कई चीज अपने आप निकलती है ना, बस। हाँ, लेकिन जब धब्बे बड़े होते हैं तो वो फिर बच नहीं पाते हैं, इसलिए प्रतीक्षा करिए, ठीक है। We have just learned that Mr. Manish Sisodia has resigned, and so has Mr. Satyendar Jain, and to our great surprise, Mr. Arvind Kejriwal, has also accepted the resignation of Mr. Satyendar Jain after 9 months. Come on. If Mr. Manish Sisodia had any moral compass left, being the disciple of Anna Hazare movement, he ought to have resigned on the day this scandalous allegations came to light. He ought to have told, first I will get exonerated, then I will come back. But his plea in the Supreme Court was, I am looking after 18 departments, therefore please give me bail. The keenness was there to run the department, not to explain the scandalous case of corruption. Therefore, again I would repeat, the whole conduct of Aam Aadmi Party is typified by 3C: cut, commission and corruption. Thank you.
All right, Ravi Shankar Prasad responding on that. I want to go across to my colleague Arunima, who continues to join us. Arunima, you have been tracking the investigation as well, especially the interrogation of Manish Sisodia. Today, when it is clear that he is not getting any relief from the Supreme Court, at least, what more are you learning of what Mr. Sisodia will be subjected to?
Well, this was day one of questioning. Out of those 5 days that CBI has been given, they are trying to ascertain the money trail. That's priority number one. What CBI believes is that total 100 crore kickback was paid, out of which 30 crore was paid in cash upfront to Vijay Nair, the main accused. The connection between Nair and Sisodia is what CBI is trying to prove, saying everything that Vijay Nair was doing was known to Mr. Sisodia. So they're trying to ascertain, even though prima facie they have some evidence to suggest that this money of 100 crore was channelized for election funding of Aam Aadmi Party. That is what CBI alleges. They say they have evidence that 70 lakh rupees out of that was paid in cash, and they have evidence to prove that. They've also got some people in Goa associated with advertising to tell them that how they were asked to provide deflated bills so that deflated amount could be shown in the account books and the rest of the amount could be paid in cash. They've also asked Dinesh Arora to turn approver, and he has reportedly told CBI that how the hawala amount was given to him by one of the co-accused, Abhishek Bonapalli, and he would get calls saying this is the number of the hawala transactor and these are the currency note numbers, and that detail would then be forwarded to Vijay Nair. So these are all details that they want to confront Mr. Sisodia with, and that process has begun. The second thing they want to ask him, establishing his alleged culpability, is that where is that file, that crucial file which had details about how the excise policy was framed. Just to give you a backgrounder, there was an expert committee that was to look at this issue. There were legal experts who commented on it, and then there were two versions of the GOM note. All these details were in that file, and that file is missing. When Mr. Sisodia was asked about it, he said, I don't know. When the IO told him that, can you recall and tell me if you gave that file to your secretary or a bureaucrat so that we can ask that person, he just said, I don't know. So rather than trying to explain where that file went, his attitude is being called uncooperative by the CBI. And in this 5 days, they say they will attempt to get more details from him, and then they say they will be in a position to file a charge sheet.
All right, Arunima, I do thank you for joining us and breaking down all of those details, because the trouble continues to mount for Mr. Sisodia. Like I was saying at the start, before this news came in, it's not going to be easy to just deflect these charges. There is a policy and an expert panel, and you know what the expert panel recommended, what the policy is quite different, and explanations will have to be given. Now, I want to go across to some other guests for their first comments. Ravula Sridhar Reddy is joining us. There's been a link that has been found in the south as well. Some of those links have come close to your party. But first, on the big news that we're tracking, isn't this a fatal blow to the Aam Aadmi Party and its honest image? Its number 2 and number 3 effectively are in jail now, Mr. Sisodia and Mr. Jain.
No, everybody knows this is a fabricated case. They have been implicated in a false case. Nobody in the country except BJP and CBI understood what this case is all about. And the monetary losses that they have shown are imaginary, and money which they have actually, declared this much money have come. They could not find any evidence anywhere, and putting them in jail. You question Narendra Modi today whether you have done something wrong or not. You will be someday in jail. That is how the BJP is actually giving message. And I've seen the response of Ravi Shankar Prasad. I don't know what sort of respect they still carry. You, after 12 lakh crores wiped out the common man's money through banks which are invested in Adani Group, and the nexus between Adani Group and central government, the link between Adani and Prime Minister is exposed openly, and you evade answers in the parliament. You don't accept for a JPC. When Supreme Court asks you to constitute a committee, you say that I will send the names in sealed
But
sealed
sir,
cover.
none of that
And they
justifies
talk
or
about
is a
respect,
defense
they talk
on the
about
charges
shame.
in this case.
I am
You're
telling
saying
you,
that
Shivani,
CBI
1
hasn't
minute.
found anything, but CBI is conducting an investigation.
CBI is conducting an investigation, but nothing was found till date. Nothing was found. This is political vendetta, revenge politics. They could not digest their defeat repeatedly in Delhi after assembly elections, again in MCD. The entire country is watching today. So they have maintained the grace. Mr. Satyendar Jain or Mr. Sisodia resigned. Why PM has not even spoke about this particular Adani issue? 12 lakh crores is not big money. For you, 10,000 crores. If it is assumed 10,000 crores is a fault, what about 10
Okay,
lakh
Mr.
crores?
Reddy, I want to
Is it
come
not
in
a
here.
scam?
But I want to go across to
The
some of our other
CBI
guests who haven't
or
spoken.
ED,
But before that,
right.
Mr. Reddy, let me come in. Let me come in. You're raising a parallel with the whole Adani issue. I'm sorry to say that the scam, as far as alleged in this case and that case, are not comparable. In this case, the smoking gun allegedly is the kickbacks, right? Somebody made money for an alleged policy to be tweaked. Now, obviously, the CBI has to prove that, but that is the case. The case is not just about whether there was a notional loss or not.
Shivani, that's what I'm trying to tell you. When CBI gets into it, now you will understand.
Okay.
In Sri Lanka, their electric board chief says that Indian government, Mr. Modi, pressurizes on them in how people know how the business has come.
Was there any kickback? Was there any kickback? In this case, there's a kickback alleged. In fact, I am learning via sources of the CBI that kickbacks were given to the quote-unquote South Lobby 2, the South Group 2. Fundamentally, this is about corruption and kickbacks, sir. It is not about favoring one business or another. That's a separate issue altogether.
Where is the proof?
Yeah, so that's what we're waiting for. That's the case. The agency will have to make in court. You and I can't make that on TV.
That is what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay.
You implicate them in false case. You charge them.
Okay, Mr. Reddy, please tell me if this is a false case. That was said for Mr. Jain also. Why is Mr. Jain in jail for 9 months? If the case was false, why is Mr. Jain in jail for 9 months? Are you saying the courts are turning a blind eye? Despite the fact that Mr. Sisodia today got an urgent hearing in the Supreme Court.
Shivani, with due respect to the judiciary, these people are implicating, framing cases in such a way. At times, courts may have no other way. But the people of the country...
I have limited time. I have to give some opportunity to our other guests. Mr. Islam wanted to come in. Yes.
See, always they pretended that they're a group of saints. But finally, they turn out to be Alibaba and his Chalis Chor. Because every minister in the Delhi government is a corrupt. Because the leader of there is also a corrupt man in the form of Kejriwal. So, as I said earlier, that he was the architect of entire corrupt model where Sisodia was executing his command, and eventually they all made money.
No, but Mr. Islam, see, this is what I'm saying. In the heat of political barbs, we have to be careful to not pronounce judgment. You can't say that this was corruption till it is proved. It's a charge right now.
What should be named?
No, but whatever evidence is in the public domain, that only suggests that it's a case of corruption. They have made money through unfair practices. They changed entire policy to benefit them. The commission had been improved from 2% to enhanced to 12%, only to siphon money. They engaged people who have spilled the beans, and everyone knows that how they have made money. The entire structure, the architect is not known to people. So where is the question of hiding anything? And that's why when they realize that there is no other way, they can hide. So they have finally resigned.
Okay, I want to focus on the resignations that have come in today. Umesh Sehgal, you've been discussing this issue and multiple other issues that the Aam Aadmi Party-led Delhi government has been facing.
Do you believe? Doesn't even know.
One second, Mr. Reddy, I'll try and give you another opportunity. 1 second. Mr. Sehgal, do you think this is almost a fatal blow to the image of the Aam Aadmi Party? This is the worst that they've seen.
Well, it is, I don't know if it is a fatal blow, but it is definitely a blow. It is definitely a setback to a party which has come on the plank of honesty. To at least the minister has resigned. That is the only positive thing I can see in favor of the Aam Aadmi Party. Otherwise, in the whole case, the evidence points very squarely to both misconduct and corruption. Under the government has lost 2,000 crores, it is alleged, and it has lost because of various tweaks made in the policy. Then the expert committee recommended that the government should continue to run the shops. They suddenly changed it and they gave it to private parties and it auctioned. 800 shops are auctioned, 800 were to pay, only 500 shops open. Some for 140 crores was returned as earnest money to one of the parties without taking anybody's order. That is done by Mr. Sisodia himself, it is alleged. And there are various other things. No need for me to go in detail because all these have been presented to a district judge level officer. A district judge has put in 30 years of judicial service or 25 years of judicial service. He knows what is evidence, what is not. And if he has been convinced, I have never seen a case, whether by CBI or anyone else, where you ask for a 5-day remand and you are given a 5-day remand. The sedition and all those cases are different. Communal violence, all those cases are different. But this is a case of corruption. So obviously the court is satisfied that he is keeping some things behind, and it needs custodial interrogation. So I mean, let us take just one case. They say nothing has been found from Mr. Sisodia's house. They have found taken a computer from there. And it is said that in the computer, everything was wiped out.
Yeah,
but
no, we are learning more details as well. But I'll leave that to the agencies to prove. Just hold on, Ms. Mathur and Mr. Reddy, just hold on. Kapil Sankla has not spoken. Just for the benefit of our viewers, I also want to point out 18 portfolios Manish Sisodia was holding, and some of them were the ones that were divested from Mr. Jain, who's in jail, and given to him. But very important ones: education that he is known for, finance, planning, land and building, vigilance. Another case where he is under scanner, services, tourism, art, culture, language, labor, employment, public work department. Public work departments is what came under Mr. Jain earlier. Health, industries, power, home, urban development. These were earlier Mr. Jain's portfolio. So obviously, there is obviously a point to be made here that the government couldn't have continued with two such ministers in jail because Mr. Jain just handled too much. But anyways, Kapil Sankla, I want to come to you. All the focus, especially after these political developments, all the focus will be on how tight a case the agencies can build. Now, you know that the agencies have come under a lot of fire because a lot of these cases never really go anywhere. Either they drag on, or as we've seen in the 2G case, it just completely turns over its head. Do you believe the agencies will be very confident from what we know right now of mounting these cases? Because there are very obvious questions, especially in the excise case.
You're absolutely right. And I've said this even before, that even CBI has to get his house in order, and the Honorable Supreme Courts have to intervene as to the actions and activities of CBI. I've already said that. Now regarding this case, please appreciate that I have other panelists saying that where is the proof, and he's innocent or he's guilty. This is too premature an argument right now, because even charge sheet has not been filed. He's just been arrested because he's been given evasive answers. He's not given the file, he's not provided his mobile phones, etc. And therefore the court, having seized of the matter, having applied its mind as to the contentions of the CBI and the defense argument, gave 5 days remand. So as far as what CBI has today has to hold good. There has to be some cogent evidence that CBI has presented before the learned trial court, and the trial court gave 5 days remand. Otherwise, the court would not have given that remand. There are dime a dozen cases where the court say no remand, police remand is not required, and sends the person to judicial custody or even grants bail under the circumstances. But that is not the case here. So as far as the evidence is concerned, whatever the CBI may have found out must have some weightage, and strong enough weightage that the trial court has given this order. That's first part. The second part is look at the nature of the argument that is taking place. Nobody is trying to justify or not justify or defend the conduct of Mr. Sisodia. Nobody is saying why, under what circumstances he is not giving the files or not providing the mobile phones. Their entire gamut of argument, it's a political case. And I've said this dime a dozen times again, that what is good for the goose is good for the gander. If a common man gets arrested and is not providing documents or evidences which he has, which is in his custody, to the prosecution or to the investigating officer, the investigating officer can ask for interrogation and the courts will grant it. And merely because somebody is a politician, you cannot ask for special laws or special rights under the circumstances. So therefore, what holds good for a common man should also good hold here, unless and until change the law.
No,
but the law
actually it should hold more true for a public officer. It should hold more true for a public officer.
Very well said.
We are talking about corruption in high places in a government
Very
policy.
well
This is not a matter of a joke. Why should any liberty or privilege be given to a public officer?
Yes, absolutely right.
In any case, I also want to bring in Hemant Attri. He's a journalist who also tracks Punjab politics very closely. Hemant Attri, this is a big crisis for the Aam Aadmi Party. They've had to bite the bullet. They would obviously like to play the card that, we've done this for propriety. But that card won't work because Mr. Jain was in jail for 9 months. That propriety didn't dawn on them. Apart from what's happening in Delhi, 2 of their ministers, I believe, have resigned in Punjab already. One has been arrested on charges of corruption. This is a major problem for a party whose major plank is anti-corruption.
Shivani, Aam Aadmi Party is really headed for a big trouble as far as Delhi is concerned. See, the gentleman, Mr. Sisodia, was having 18 departments. Almost half of the government was being run by him. 33 departments in all in Delhi, and he was running 18. And see, now this is time for Delhi budget also. He was preparing for it. And finance department is not such a department that you and me come today and we can present the budget tomorrow. You have to have clarity for that. And furthermore, see, in this particular case, nobody can take shield of this and that. 2-3 things, they are not coincidences. First of all, the day governor pointed a finger on 30th of July towards this excise policy. And what happened? Within 24 hours, the excise policy was withdrawn. If there was nothing wrong in that, why was there no discussion? Why was there no file going to governor and this put up in black and white? Why it was instantly withdrawn? Excise policies are not prepared by somebody in a spurt of a moment. It's a process. Cabinet takes a call, then it goes to LG. And there is a whole lot of process. And then you withdraw it unanimously on your own. Is it possible? First of all, that is the point. Second thing is, the biggest USP that Aam Aadmi Party claims is that they are the most honest people.
Exactly.
If that be the case, Satyendar Jain is there for last 9 months. Now this gentleman, and a sitting health minister of Punjab, he was arrested. A week back, an MLA was arrested. So the thing is, Aam Aadmi Party was seriously planning for next 5 states which are going to be for the elections, particularly Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan and Chhattisgarh. The Manish Sisodia being a poster boy of Aam Aadmi Party. I am using the word poster boy.
Yes, sir, 1 second.
Shivani,
Mr. Reddy, coming to you 1 second.
Shivani,
he was a poster boy for particularly the education sector.
Okay.
And now, and practically he was number 2 for all practical purposes as far as Delhi government is concerned. And he is number 2 to Mr. Kejriwal.
Okay.
Now, under these circumstances, the Aam Aadmi Party's plans to spread its wings across the country, and particularly in these 5 election-going states, that will take a major jolt.
Okay, they might still try it, but it's more about public perception now. I request our guests to stay with us. I do want a response from both Mr. Reddy and Ms. Mathur, but we're getting more updates. Now, with as many as 18 portfolios minister-less and all key portfolios, including finance, Mr. Attri was right that the budget has to be presented. What happens next? There are a lot of speculations happening. Names of the likes of Saurav Bhardwaj and Atishi Marlena are now doing the rounds. Kailash Gehlot could also be given additional portfolios. My colleague Rupashri Nanda is joining us. Rupashri, I believe Kailash Gehlot was already part of the meetings that were taking place, especially for the budget. So was he being prepped already?
Well, the one point that I can confirm absolutely is that many ministers are part of the budget-making process. It does not necessarily mean that he was being considered, but yes, his name has been doing the rounds. But as of now, I must tell our viewers that there is no confirmation that he indeed is going to present the budget or he is going to be given the charge of finance. The other two names that have been doing the rounds are that is Saurabh Bhardwaj and Atishi Marlena. Remember, Aam Aadmi Party, actually, the government over here in Delhi does not have a woman in its cabinet. And if Arvind Kejriwal would wants to make a woman, also a minister, perhaps Atishi may be considered. But again, I would like to tell our viewers that as of now, this is only speculation. These names are doing the rounds. Now, why I am being careful is because until this afternoon also, that is before the verdict of the Supreme Court, when the Supreme Court told the Aam Aadmi Party to go to the High Court for remedy instead of knocking on the doors of the Supreme Court directly. Until then, there was no sense that one could gather from anyone that one spoke with that these resignations are on the line. So definitely it is Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal who has made up his mind. And considering various factors, number one is the sheer, burden of administration and responsibility of administration. Who is going to take that responsibility? If, for instance, he had not gone for a new minister or not appointed new people into his cabinet, then it had meant additional, responsibility for the existing ministers.
Okay.
Amongst the existing ministers, you have Kailash Gehlot, you have Ashok, you have Gopal Rai, you have Imran Hussain. Can they be trusted with so many more portfolios as Manish Sisodia had been trusted
Yeah,
with?
fair enough. Rupashri, I want to focus a little bit on the turn of events. You're saying that until the Supreme Court hearing got over and there was no relief in sight, there was absolutely no discussion within the Aam Aadmi Party of what next, and that they were in no mood to go in for resignations from their jailed ministers. This is a sudden development?
Well, from what I have gathered is that there was always this door of asking their ministers to resign. That door was always open. But Arvind Kejriwal had made it very clear that he is not going to give in to the pressure from the opposition.
Okay.
Because taking the resignation also would mean that Kejriwal somewhere actually has relented to the pressure of the opposition. And somewhere believes that his ministers are guilty and they cannot continue.
Yes, absolutely. There is public perception to be managed here. There is political perception to be managed here. But sometimes digging in your heels goes against you, as well as possibly has in this case. But this is a governance crisis for the Aam Aadmi Party too, along with a credibility crisis. Let me bring in Ms. Mathur once again. Ms. Mathur, you wanted to come in. What next now? Can you give us some details of what happens next? You seem to be running short of ministers.
We have enough MLAs and we need not worry about that. And like I said, that at no cost will we let from our end the governance to suffer. So I would like to assure you and our, residents of Delhi that the Aam Aadmi Party government is very capable and we are going to leave no stone unturned to serve them as we have been serving, and which is why they have given us a mandate, a historic mandate for the second and third time. Meanwhile, the reason why I wanted to come in is that while all these allegations remain allegations, at least for now, we must not lose sight of the fact that there are other cases in this country and what happens to them. It is important because there is a political environment. There is an environment in which this is happening, and we must, raise questions to all sides. For example, there is Mr. Narayan Rane, who's accused of a 300 crore money laundering racket, of running that, and he becomes a union minister. Mr. Suvendu Adhikari, the probe stops as soon as he joins the BJP. Mr. Himanta Biswa Sarma, who's the chief minister of Assam, and the probe stops, just when he joins the BJP. Then there's Bhavna Gole, there's Yashwant Yadav. There are so many cases. B.S. Yedurappa, who was felicitated later by the PM. So, it is very crucial to discuss this in the context of the political atmosphere.
I get it.
That the
I
BJP
take your
has
point.
created.
Why is there heat on some and not on others? But can I point out?
And this is something
Can
that
I point out that is still not a defense for your corruption?
Not at all.
My point is that I don't know how political party says that, okay, we are doing this, you are coming after us, but why are you not going after somebody else? That's not a defense for your probity.
No, but even in the court of law, circumstances and the broader environment, must be stated.
No, but they're never stated in court. That's fundamentally the point I'm making. Your lawyers will never say this in court because this is not a legal argument.
No, I'm not doing whereaboutry, and none of that influences this particular case. But what I'm saying is that as journalists or as citizens or as politicians, it is our job to highlight the larger political circumstances.
Okay, fair enough.
But
I've allowed you to
must
make that
ask-
point. Zafar
you
Islam
must
will
ask
respond
the
to that.
BJP
My
spokesperson,
fundamental
you must
question is,
ask-
I am discussing this case. Is there a case of corruption here or not? Bottom line. I don't like the fact that someone else is involved in this, someone else is involved in that, particularly for a party whose only plank was anti-corruption. Yes, Mr.
Well,
Reddy.
what I'm saying is that if you
Miss
are
Mathur,
giving,
once again. Miss Mathur, once again. Mr. Reddy has been waiting. Mr. Reddy, then Mr. Islam. Yes.
Shivani,
Yeah.
Shivani, I was listening to the other panelists. They were all saying, it's a big blow, a setback, trouble to the government. This is what exactly the central government and BJP wanted for AAP today in Delhi, because they are also questioning the central government. They are also fighting against them. That's what is even happening with us. If you question Modi, and today I was just listening to the former chief secretary saying that we are all asking for where is the money found, where is the evidence found. He was saying few computers were found. Well, finding computers, seizing them, is it equal to corruption? You might get definitely some documents, whether they are, false or perfect. Of that court will, state. But the issue here is, now you are repeatedly saying that AAP was, fighting on the plank of being very honest and anti-corruption. No, these are all false cases, framed cases.
Can I ask you a question,
cases,
Mr. Reddy?
with a mal-intention.
Can
I'm
I ask
telling
you a question,
because
Mr.
see,
Reddy? There
and
are
one more
multiple
thing,
arrests. There are multiple arrests that have happened in this excise policy case before Manish Sisodia was arrested. None of them are managing to come out. Can you tell me why?
That is what I'm asking.
So if the case is so false, it is so fraudulent, how is nobody managing to secure a release?
That is what we are asking. I am repeating, that is what we are asking. You see, fine, if the case is tomorrow, how it will turn out, we will definitely see the case in the past 5 years, how the 2G scam, or whatever scams you have named, what was the result we have seen. Today, as AAP spokesperson was asking today, why the cases on Mr. Narayan Rane to Mr. Sharma are dropped? Why there is no single investigation is ordered today by the central government after 2 lakh crores wiped out?
Okay.
And every investment proposal of Adani called off. Adani themselves have called off. They have rolled back their FFP. Even that, is this not suspicious? Is this 12 lakh crores money invested by the bank? Today, LIC's money has come down, drastically dropped by 50-60,000 crores. Is it not a problem? Central government has no role in it.
Okay, fair enough. You've made that argument earlier. Can I ask you a very quick question before I go to Zafar Islam? Mr. Reddy, can I ask you a very quick question? There are links to this case that have touched your party. Given what is transpiring in the national capital, are you worried that there could be greater trouble for you too?
Shivani, Mr. Jafar Islam was saying the existing commission which was proposed was 5%, enhanced to 12%. He's saying 2% to 12%. This is how you guys, spread lies, wrong information into the public.
But sir, you're not answering my question. Why are you defending the Delhi excise policy so much? Are you worried that the tentacles will reach you very severely?
I am not Delhi excise. I am not trying to defend. We are only trying to question the, witch hunting of the central government. We are trying to, question the selective, targeted harassment and hunting of the opposition parties who are questioning that.
Okay, Mr. Zafar Islam, please respond to that.
See, all this statement which is coming from all the panelists, only trying to say either he was not corrupt or he was corrupt. But the fact is known to the CBI because they have the evidence. When he was in their custody, he was in contact with all the evidences which was collected by the CBI, and he was in contact with them. And he just didn't cooperate with them because he knew that what crime he has committed. And he knew that he is responsible and instrumental for all the corruption which has taken place while making the liquor policy. And he claimed to be education minister, but actually he is a excise minister, he is a liquor minister. He is the one who is responsible for all the benefit which has been passed on to others, and in the process he has collected bribe from these people. So the evidence is with the CBI.
Okay.
And let the court take its own course, because CBI will definitely prove.
But can I also
prove
say,
their-
Mr.
on
Zafar
to
Islam,
the court
these
that what
agencies
evidence
do
they
come
have.
under the central government.
Yeah.
Some of these cases have to go to some conclusion. Right? The agencies' reputations and
No.
their work is also under scanner, under scrutiny, especially when it comes to your political opponents.
See, it is the responsibility of the agencies. If they have found some corruption has taken place, and where somebody is responsible, it is the responsibility of the.
What about the other
independent
names that the
agency
Aam Aadmi
like
Party
CBI
and
ED
BRS are listing out? The likes of Narayan Rane, Suvendu Adhikari. What happens to these cases?
No, everything is in the court. I mean, whatever is there in the court. So let the court decide. In every case, it is the court which has to take decision. All I am trying to tell you that independent agencies like CBI and ED, they pursue case based on certain evidence. If they have the evidence, all along Mr. Sisodia was claiming that he has not
So BJP is
committed any
convinced
crime
that the
and there is no
evidence
case of
on
corruption.
Suvendu
But when
Adhikari,
he has been in court,
evidences on Narayan Rane, evidences
says,
on Hemant
then he
Vishwa
could just couldn't respond. Then that is what I am trying to tell you, that these independent agencies have gathered enough evidence of corruption and against Mr. Sisodia, and that is what has been shown to him.
Okay,
And he was
I
not
have to
fully
go across
cooperating
to
with
some
them.
more breaking
He
updates
has
coming
been put
in.
in remand. I am sure the truth.
We are getting some more breaking updates coming in. This is about what really happens in the aftermath of both the ministers, Manish Sisodia and Satyendar Jain, now resigning. We are learning that Sisodia's portfolios, because he was holding the ones divested from Satyendar Jain too. So as many as 18 key portfolios, they're going to be distributed between Kailash Gehlot and R.K. Anand. Rupashi Nanda is once again with us. Rupashi, tell us more.
Well, yes, as like I was mentioning earlier also, these names were doing the round and there was no confirmation of either of those, names. So now we can confirm that Rajkumar Anand, the person who was inducted into Kejriwal's cabinet after the resignation of Rajendra Pal Gautam, is going to be handed some portfolios. Remember, he was a minister in the cabinet who did not have any portfolios. And now, Kailash Gehlot is going to be also sharing many of the portfolios that Manish Sisodia used to handle. And the other big breaking news that we have at this point is that Arvind Kejriwal is not going to induct any new people as ministers at this point in time.
Okay.
So perhaps the chief minister has tried, to send some sort of a signal that, that even though the resignations of Satyendar Jain and Manish Sisodia have been accepted, no other person is going to be appointed in their place. So those positions will remain vacant in the ministry. Now, this is going to be a very tough ask for all the ministers who already are there in the cabinet, because remember, Delhi cabinet is a very small cabinet. It does not have too many numbers.
Okay.
When you have so many ministries and so many departments to handle, it just means additional work for the ministers who are still in the cabinet.
Rupashi, I wanted to understand from you, because you track the party very closely, two things. Do we have any details of what these resignations say? How have they been sent? Any details at all of what they are saying in their resignations? Any response yet from the top brass, which is Arvind Kejriwal? Any responses at all so far?
No response from the Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal so far, and no response also, from other people, other top people in the party as to what actually triggered this sudden change of or turn of events. Like I have been mentioning, it was the Supreme Court's verdict actually which told the Aam Aadmi Party to go to the High Court, exhaust its options of getting remedy from there before turning to the Supreme Court, and going by what has already happened. And remember, these are people who are very close to Arvind Kejriwal. Satyendar Jain was close to Arvind Kejriwal. Manish Sisodia and Arvind Kejriwal's bonds are very well known. And the other person who has been under arrest now for 4 months is Vijay Nair, again another person, who again was operating out of the Chief Minister's office. And Vijay Nair again has been in jail for 4 months.
Okay.
So going by the kind of tenure that these people have been spending in jail, perhaps Arvind Kejriwal did decide that it is time now, perhaps to bite the bullet.
Absolutely, the writing was on the wall. Absolutely, Rupa. Thanks a lot for joining us, because as I was saying, There are a lot of other arrests that have been made as far as this case is concerned. Nobody is managing to get the cases against them quashed or get relief as far as their custodies is concerned. My colleagues Akash and Arunima are also joining us. Arunima, before I come to you, very quickly, Akash, any responses that you're getting from Delhi politicians? The Congress, the BJP have been hammering the Aam Aadmi Party over this issue, and both have been demanding resignations of these ministers.
First of all, two things, Shivani. This particular decision has come out as a surprise. First of all, because no one was expecting that this would happen that early. That day before yesterday, we saw that how Manish Sisodia was arrested, and today a decision has been taken, and he resigned. In fact, Satyendar Jain has also resigned, and their resignations have been accepted. Now, there were talks that Arvind Kejriwal and the party is working on some plan B. But with the particular development that no new minister will be inducted, this is another surprise, because you see, just after a few days we'll have Delhi budget. Yes, Kailash Gehlot would be presenting, and it was decided, in fact, that Kailash Gehlot would be presenting the budget. But as far as the opposition is concerned, so opposition used to attack Aam Aadmi Party, saying that you have two different policies for the party. In Punjab, you say that you portray, in fact, that Aam Aadmi Party is so imandar party that whenever there is a charge, in fact, there is allegation of corruption on any of our minister, we are asking them to resign. In fact, in Punjab, we saw this similar image.
Yes.
But in Delhi, BJP was constantly attacking Aam Aadmi Party, saying that your minister is in jail from last 10 months and before.
And you've not done anything. That's possibly because the Delhi is their most important model, isn't it? This is where the model started. This is where all of their perception comes from. Arunima, it seems that the writing was on the wall, isn't it? Arunima is not with us anymore. Akash, the other thing also is that the next few months are going to be extremely crucial for the Aam Aadmi Party, because they had such large national ambitions. But it seems like the very heart of their model is under crisis now.
And also, Shivani, it will be crucial to mention, because I had a word with several Aam Aadmi Party leaders. They are they are not talking on record. But they are saying that, it would not be easy for these ministers to, carry on these portfolios. In fact, Aam Aadmi Party will have to induct new ministers in this case. But as of now, in fact, speculations were going that Saurabh Bhardwaj and Atishi will be given some sort of responsibility. But as of now, Aam Aadmi Party has decided that no, they are going to continue with the current ministers. Rajkumar Anand and also Kailash Gehlot. Kailash Gehlot comes from Najafgarh constituency, and Rajkumar Anand, had replaced Rajendrapal Gautam just a few months back. So these ministers will be continuing with the.
We'll continue to track that very closely, Akash. I do thank you for joining us. This is an unprecedented scenario playing out in the national capital. We've not had two sitting ministers in jail. They're not sitting ministers anymore, at least. But unprecedented crisis for the Aam Aadmi Party. We'll have to wait and see how they can come out of this, and when we'll hear from the Chief Minister first after these big developments. Time for me to take your leave. Keep watching CNN News 18. We'll track this very closely.